Finally, Black Clover fans rejoice. Official Black Clover movie news is here. Black Clover, Sword of the Wizard King will release in theaters and on Netflix on March 31st, 2023, exactly 2 years after the airing of the temporary Black Clover finale, episode 170, which means that we are less than half a year away from witnessing peak cinema. I cannot even begin to describe how excited I am for this movie. It's definitely overshadowed much of the rest of my week, like the new manga chapter as well as some exciting personal news in my life. They're not as shrouded in excitement for this movie. But that's just how much energy this news is giving me, and I'm sure the rest of you as well. There is a lot to discuss, including news of who's involved with this project, a statement from Tabata, a new interesting character, as well as my own breakdown of the 30-second teaser trailer for the movie. I've actually believe I've spotted some rather interesting occurrences as I watch the teaser frame by frame, so I want to point those out to you. There is rather a lot of information to go through, so grab your popcorn and a drink, and let's get to talking some Black Clover movie news. As I've already said, but I'll mention again, this movie is titled Black Clover, Sword of the Wizard King, and will release in theaters and on Netflix on March 31st, 2023. Now we know for a fact it will be in theaters in Japan. I have seen conflicting statements on whether it will be in theaters in the West as well. I hope that it is in theaters everywhere, as I was rooting for a theatrical experience for this movie. To see it on the big screen and get that amazing sound quality, as well as the subtle reactions of the fans around me. But I digress. I will still love being able to watch the film in the comfort of my own home, as well as being able to immediately re-watch it to easier make videos on the film. I must say now that much of this news comes from Night Baron on Twitter. Night Baron is a credible leaker, and she is the one who leaks the Black Clover chapters weekly. I implore you to go follow her on Twitter, which will be linked below in the description. This is the official synopsis from the website. The movie depicts the Wizard King's story, Julius, not revealed in the original work. The former Wizard King Conrad suddenly appears before Asta and co. What's his aim with the Imperial Sword? Asta and co. get caught up in a new battle. That's the synopsis for the movie. Good start. We can also talk about the notable staff for the movie. The director is Ayataka Tanamaru. The character design is Isuku Takeda. Music is Minaku Seki. And the script is Johnny Onda. Sorry if I did not pronounce the names, that is something I'm very bad at doing. But anyways, also working on the script is Iori, and Tabata is credited as not only the creator of Black Clover, of course, but also the supervisor and for the character design as well. Black Clover fans should be familiar with director Tanemura, who worked as a director for Black Clover prior. Also notable is Johnny Onda, who, if you didn't know, is the author for Black Clover's light novels. So I find it exciting that he's working on the movie, as I loved some of his works in the light novels. The short story involving Magna and Luck going to the dungeon to find a cure for Asta's arms is one of my favorite bits of Black Clover storytelling, period. And hopefully we'll get a full list for the team, so we can see every single individual involved in this grand project. I saw a lot of people tweeting about how they were involved with this project on Twitter, and that was very exciting for me to see. Congrats to everybody working on this amazing project. As I mentioned earlier, a very mysterious and interesting looking character was revealed for this movie, and so far he seems to be the main antagonist for the film. This is Conrad Leto, who was a former Wizard King. He is voiced by Toshihiko Seki, who has voiced other infamous characters like Muzan from Demon Slayer, and various other voices as well. I love the design of Conrad, even though he really does give off a Spade villain or Zagratis vibe. He looks like he could be a relative to Yuno or Zenon, but he looks a lot harsher than either of them. And the seaweed hair at the top of his head is an interesting choice to say the least. I would have gone with a different color hairstyle entirely to differentiate him a bit more. But Conrad's drip is second to none with the fur coat and dark tunic, and he is just strapped with keys hanging around his body. And as the teaser will reveal, these keys are relevant to the repertoire of his magic power. Now, even before the trailer was revealed, I thought Conrad was going to be evil, just based off the vibes of his design. He gave me a dark, Crypt Keeper visage. And it is a common trope for anime movies to feature a villain that is very similar to a villain that is currently running in the manga at the same time. This was done in movies like Dragon Ball. Janemba was similar to Boo, and then you got the other androids in the movies like Android 13. But as we'll get into it, the teaser trailer sorts of sets him up as a villain without blatantly confirming it. It does imply it with the synopsis, but it doesn't, I guess, actually blatantly say he's the villain. It could be subverting expectations. Maybe the sword will be the true villain and have some sort of evil soul trapped inside of it. Before breaking down the teaser, I'm going to be discussing some misinformation going down amongst the community, and that is claims that this movie is non-canon. These claims are stated by Night Baron herself, but this more so stems from the lack of choosing words carefully and other people misunderstanding her words. I actually agree with Night Baron's intent here, and I'll discuss these two tweets from her. The first is, the movie is not canon, parentheses, in the sense that it will not affect the main plot, and people are arguing that the movie is canon, No, it's not. It will not affect the original plot, and the manga will continue like this movie never happened. However, it is about Julius's past, and is a story supervised by Tabata, i.e. anime original. And I'd like to add, it's more or less on the footing with the anime original episodes of Boruto. Maybe let's call it anime canon. A lot of people don't consider the light novels of Black Clover canon, for instance, because it makes no difference to the story. I agree with the soul of what Night Baron is saying here, but I disagree with her use of the word canon. When people bring up canon, they essentially are asking if the two sources are connected. Did this happen in their same timeline or universe? Is the Asta from the movie the same Asta from the exact same time and space in the manga? This is important for lore, theories, and power scaling of the series, as even if it's not going to affect the manga's current standing, it will affect the entirety of the plot of the story, because it is a narrative itself, and the movie can strengthen or weaken the rest of the narrative by how strong or weak it is. The clarification of her first tweet implies that it is canon, just not what many people wrongly consider canon, as many amongst the fandom believe that only the manga itself can be canon for any manga ever. An obtuse claim, I know, but it is a prominent belief. The second claim further harkens this, as Night Baron compares the canonicity of the light novels to the movie. And if this is indeed the case, that the light novels are of the same canonicity of the movie, then the movie is canon. The light novels are canon, even if people don't want to choose it to be, because Tabata introduced them into the manga proper, and some of the light novels were adapted as canon anime episodes, as well as Tabata actually mentioning the light novels in the Black Clover guidebook as well, and stating that they are canon. Even Tabata himself implies the movie is canon from his own statement. Let's give that a read. It looks like the visuals and special trailer for the Black Clover movie have finally been released. The story of the Wizard King is made into a film. It's a "why didn't you do this in the original manga" story. It will be a movie where you can enjoy large-scale and flashy battles between Asta and his powerful enemies. Now, director Tanemura and Studio Period are putting all their efforts into production. Thank you so much. Look forward to next March. I'm looking forward to it too. Yuki Tabata. I do believe when you pair a credible source, like Night Baron and her claims, with Tabata's own statement that Black Clover, Sword of the Wizard King, is canon, meaning that technically between chapter 228 and chapter 229 of the manga, all of the events of the movie actually took place. It will be like the My Hero Academia or Seven Deadly Sins movies, where they are technically canon and part of the same continuity, but are only loosely connected and barely mentioned. This is the trend of how manga and anime movies are going, and seem to be shifting away from the non-canon alternate dimension / alternate timeline movies based on alternate versions of characters like you had with a lot of the Dragon Ball movies and movies from other series as well. Now it's time to talk about the interesting things that I saw in the trailer. I went frame by frame and found some interesting stuff. I'll have a link to the trailer down below so you can watch it in full and rejoice with other Black Clover fans in the comments. Now the actual trailer doesn't reveal the first scene, but other trailers do, and that is the large mountain covered in snow. What's very interesting about this mountain is that it looks like the top of it has caved in, hinting that this may have been an active volcano in the past and may have recently erupted. As someone who grew up in the Pacific Northwest and just recently went to visit Mount St. Helens, I immediately made this connection. And it is this mountain that I believe could possibly be the main location for the Black Clover film. My reasoning for this is that the movie looks to be taking place inside of this large coliseum. Inside the place is the titular sword of the Wizard King, called the Imperial Sword. This large sword seemingly made of ice or crystal. And if it is made of ice, it further makes me believe that this sword was either found in that mountain, stored there, or sealed there. That maybe this mountain holds an ancient coliseum bound to antiquity. And the sword also has a clover symbol on it as well, possibly linking it to Licht or the dwarves, since the Demon Destroyer sword also has a clover symbol on it as well. And either maybe the sword used to belong to Licht or his ancestors, or the same dwarf or same type of dwarves who made the Demon Destroyer sword made this Imperial sword. This little theory of mine is further supported by a later scene in the teaser that shows melted water falling around Asta while he's fighting. Well darn, I guess I already debunked my own theory for the movie, as I noticed that the Netflix version of the trailer did not have that mountain / volcano in the beginning of the trailer, but various different trailers online had that. And I looked into why, and it turns out that that is just the publishing company's logo, that mountain or volcano. But because I saw it in the trailer and it looked animated, yeah, I was like, okay, there's something to that. But no, guys, it's very unlikely now that my volcano, mountain, the Colosseum inside of it theory, definitely very likely not going to be a thing, which is funny, but yeah, I just had to add that in there. And based on how the trailer shows things, the opening of this film may be Julius whilst a captain of the Grey Deer, facing off against the current Wizard King at the time, Conrad. Either Conrad was always evil, or maybe this sword has some sort of evil spirit inside of it that has corrupted him. And what further makes me believe this is that we can actually see Julius's time magic wrapped around this Imperial sword, and we can actually see Conrad behind the sword as well. You can see the actual time magic moving around. It is Julius's time magic. And we do see Julius fighting in his Grey Deer garb, and we see Yami in that same scene. It makes me believe that possibly Yami, William, and Julius in the past all fought Conrad together, ending with Julius trapping him in a chronostasis, a time orb that lasted for years, until Julius died and lost the majority of his powers when he came back. Maybe child Julius was just not strong enough to completely hold onto the seal that kept Conrad there. What's also interesting is that Julius does have some sort of star that twinkles on his forehead, also make me think it's possible that this could be a child Julius who actually sped up his time to make himself an adult, like he did in the manga against the Ancient Demon, and then use some of the mysterious transformation magic that he has to drobe the Grey Deer garb once more. We also get to see some sort of display of Conrad's power in this trailer. His keys insert into keyholes that appear out of thin air, and when he wields the sword, he can elongate it into the sky and creates light blue orbs and star twinkles. Though the blue powers could be connected to the powers of the sword itself, and not his own. And even then, these keys could actually be magic items, and they might not at all be correlated with his own innate attribute. So it does seem that Conrad's true power, as of right now, could still be a mystery, and he's just using two different magic items. Though one of my theories is that Conrad can use his keys to unlock the mind of his opponents and control them. I think this because we have gotten a hint at Asta actually fighting some of his own comrades in the trailer, as at the end of the trailer, a Magna-style fireball comes soaring at Asta, and directly after that, he slices away a bolt of lightning magic. So it's possible that Conrad used the power of his keys to control Magna, Luck, and even other black bowls so that Asta has to fight them. Maybe that water that I mentioned earlier isn't actually melted snow from the mountain, but actually a brainwashed Noel's water magic that Asta has to fight. This would further add to the connection of Conrad and Lucius, the manga movie trope I referenced earlier, as Lucius was able to turn people against Asta by tapping them with his soul magic, like what he did with Sister Lily. And while this was already known for a year, but this movie will have to take place between chapters 228 and 229 in the manga, as Asta does not have a devil arm in this movie. And I believe that this will have to take place after episode 157 in the anime canon as well, as Asta in the movie has his post-time skip outfit with no devil arm, and the last time we saw him in the middle of the time skip was him facing off against Gaja, when Asta was considerably less muscular than the movie version of himself, and still wearing his old clothes. So this movie likely takes place very late into the time skip. Also, we do see Yuno in the trailer, so expect him to make a sizable appearance in the film as well. I think he will have a very interesting role. Hopefully it's Asta and Yuno versus Conrad at some point. But with the other promotional material I mentioned earlier, this is the story of the Wizard King. It's probably going to show how Julius became the Wizard King. It's probably going to be that opening battle where Julius fights Conrad, defeats him, seals him away, and then Julius probably becomes the Wizard King. And then the rest of the plot is Conrad coming back. We'll probably get a hint at Lucius in this movie as well, something interesting like that. I believe that is it for my breakdown of this movie news. I've been told that there will be another preview for the film in December, that will likely feature a longer trailer that unveils even more details. So I don't think that this is going to be a terribly long wait for us. It's less than 6 months, with more news to come and a longer trailer, and we'll still be getting weekly chapters to help string us along until the big day. News for this channel as well. My Morris video project will be out pretty soon, and future video projects are on the way. If you did enjoy this video and you were hyped for the Black Clover movie, please leave a like and comment down below what you are most excited about. You can also subscribe and turn notifications. You can follow me on Twitter to discuss the movie, and also join my Discord to talk about the movie with me and a lot of my other members as well. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Peace out.